and welcome back to Gentle Growth with Ivy. As always, I am Ivy. Now, I do want to continue to discuss the things that I said I was going to discuss. However, I do want to let you know something. I've had a bit of an epiphany, if that's the word, and I've learned quite a few more things. And the more that I learn, the more I narrow down my area of focus, and I believe I've nailed it. I think I've got it. So I started out with life coaching. And then I was like, well, let's turn that into self-care coaching. I know I want to be a coach. I've always been told to be a life coach of some sort. I've always wanted to be. I've always felt good when I inspire others. It's something that I just really enjoy doing. So I knew I wanted to go along coaching. So life coach boiled down to self-care. And then that boiled down to self-love. And now I have boiled that down to positive mindset, because I realize that that is what has changed my life. Life coaching that I've read on the internet, that's helped. Self-care has helped. Self-love has helped a lot. But what has truly changed my life is my mindset. And the fact that it's positive now. I have a positive mindset, and that's what has made the difference in my life. And if I'm going to help people make a difference in their life from my experience, positive mindset is where it's at. And as I'm learning to build my brand, build my business and all that, I have learned that doing something based upon like your name, really integrating your name into your business, into your beliefs, is good, because that's like integrating yourself. And whenever you integrate yourself like that, you're going to be more dedicated, you're going to have more passion, you're going to have more push. And that's what I want. I don't want to burn out on this. I want to continue this. I want to make a lot of positive changes for people. And so upon that research, I Googled my name, and one of the things that came up, there were several things. My name, it really is Ivy. And so one of the things that I came across was Ivy is an evergreen. Ivy is good year-round. And ivy is a plant known for being resilient and still blossoming in so many different conditions. I mean, you see ivy growing on the side of old abandoned buildings. You know, those plants, they don't know limits. They don't understand harsh weather brings people down. They don't understand critters and bugs crawling through you can, eat you up. It doesn't see that. Ivy continues to thrive. Ivy is an evergreen, and that is something that I want to teach everyone who listens to me. I want to teach them how to be an evergreen. I want to teach them how to thrive in any circumstance. And how can I do that? Yeah, I can do that with life coaching. Absolutely. Yes, I can do that with self-care coaching in a way. It adds up. I can do that with self-love coaching. But what I can really do that with is mindset coaching, because if I can help you frame your mindset, I can change your life, and that is what I'm here to do. That's what I want to do. So, I'm going to continue the discussions that I was on, because I believe that these things do add up to a positive mindset. So I don't think that's taking away from my journey, but just know that once I get through my original discussions, it is going to be much more mindset based and how to do all that. But I do want to still go through with like the self-compassion, the self-image and all that, because it's important. So we are going to get on to that now. I know last episode I said I was going to discuss XYZ and then some, and then I didn't get to that because I talk a lot and it was a longer podcast. So I'm definitely going to discuss self-compassion next, and then we may get into more, but obviously you are going to figure out what we're going to do as you listen. So let's get into it. So, self compassion is definitely something that I hold close because you have got to go easy on yourself. I know I've always been a compassionate person to other people. I've always just had that natural kind of empathy, and I've always worried about how other people are feeling. And I've been understanding that, this person might be mean to me because they're having a bad day, and bad days happen, and it's easy to do that. It's easy to understand that people have bad days because you have bad days too, so you get that compassion to other people. It can really come naturally to us, but we have to give ourselves that same self-compassion. When you are having a rough moment and you realize, oh my God, I should not have acted that way. And instead of beating yourself up for that, I should have done this, I should have done that, and continuing that thought for weeks or even months at a time, that is harmful. That is no bueno, all right? We do not want to do that. We want to have self-compassion. When something happens and you might have a reaction that you don't want to have, you dropped your cup and it broke, and then all of a sudden you are angry at the whole world, and you're just, oh, I'm so stupid. I should know not to set it that close to the edge of the counter, and now it's broken. This is my favorite cup, and I'm never going to find it again. And then a week later, like, I broke that cup, and oh my goodness, it even left a scratch on the floor when I did it. Like, that's so terrible. People drop cups. It happens. And I know that's such a mild, it's a very mild reference, right? Because we know that self-compassion comes in handy for some much bigger instances in our life. So that's a very, very small reference there. But you want to have that same self-compassion for yourself. And that same thing goes with self-love. The way you so freely love people. Love yourself. And so here are some Here are some self-compassion quotes that I personally enjoy. I have 3 of them, and the first one is, you yourself, as much as anybody in the entire universe, deserves your love and affection. You do. You give it to so many other people so freely. Give it to yourself. Another one is, be kinder to yourself, and then let your kindness flood the world. That is something that I really, really like, because, you can't pour from an empty cup. So how are you able to give out all this compassion to other people when you don't have that same compassion for yourself? Are they going to believe those words? If I sit here and I tell you, you got to be self-compassionate, it's okay that you did this, it's okay that you did that, be compassionate towards yourself. If I did that to you, and then you see me not giving myself grace, not giving myself self-compassion, what kind of influence is that going to be on you? You got to practice what you preach. So if you're going to spread compassion, you've got to have self-compassion too, or it's almost meaningless. And we don't have time for meaningless things, do we? We are busy people in this day and age, okay? Another quote is, self-compassion is simply giving the same kindness to ourselves that we would give to others. And that goes along with everything that I just said. You give it to others, give it to yourself. Self-compassion is key. Picture this. You, your favorite blanket, and a cup of kindness. That's the feeling of self-compassion. It's like a warm hug for your soul, especially when things get a bit wobbly. You've got to comfort yourself. Because if you don't, who is? You can't rely on people like that. You have to be the one that's there for yourself. It's nice to have it from other people. That's really nice, but that's a dessert. You are your main course. You fulfill yourself. You put all the food on your plate, and you are everything you need. Everyone else is a dessert. Dessert is delicious. And it's wonderful. It's an additive. You can survive without dessert though, right? So you have got to build your plate yourself in a way that you don't need nurturing from other people. And now I say that as a nurturer. I'm here to nurture your mindset, right? So understand that right now you may not be the full plate. You might need that extra nourishment from the outside, and that's okay. But we're building here. One day you're not going to need my podcast to tell you stuff like this. You know, we're all on a journey. I didn't know stuff like this 2 years ago. I heard of it, but I didn't know it. I didn't practice it. It truly is life-changing, and that's what I'm here for. So I want to give you 5 simple ways to shower yourself with kindness. And these are all things that I have done, and I know they work. So these aren't going to be in a certain order of greatest to not great. I have this list here, and I'm going to read it to you guys. So the first one is talk to yourself like a friend. Do you ever notice how you are able to cheer up a friend? Do you do that for yourself? Do you speak kindly and encourage yourself the way that you do to your friends? Or if you don't have friends that do that, or if you don't have friends that you do that for, how would you want someone to speak to you as a friend? I know in the past, I would be so amazing to my friends and speak so kindly to them. And I would just uplift them no matter what they were going through. I would never put them down for their issues that they were going through. Never. Ever. I wouldn't dream of it. But you know who I did? Myself. I went through an issue, and I would put that issue completely on myself, and I would take full blame. Now, you do need to take accountability for your actions. I'm not saying, do whatever you want and oh well, self-compassion. You take accountability. You learn, you accept, but you don't beat yourself up. You can tell yourself, I need to do better next time. You can look for ways to do better next time, but don't hate yourself. There is a big difference in educating and learning and versus hating and beating up for yourself. Continuously to repeat to yourself that you messed up is not going to benefit you. But if you say, oh, I did this, and so you search for ways to do better, that's good. Don't obsess, though. Obsessing over anything isn't going to help. But it's okay to find solutions. It's not okay to continue to beat yourself up over it. Another way is to love your quirks. Embrace yourself. They're what make you you. And instead of stressing about your imperfections, celebrate the unique masterpiece that is you. Something that I used to really beat myself up about was anytime somebody comes to me for an issue, I always try to solve the problem. I'll send them links, I'll send them screenshots, I'll send them quotes. I always try to solve the problem, and there were people in my life that would tell me how annoying that was. I just want you to listen. I came to you, I don't want you to fix my problem, I just want you to listen. Okay, well, that's what a therapist is for one. Okay, all right. I ain't a therapist, I'm a coach. I didn't know that back then. But I really would be hard on myself, and somebody would come to me for an issue and I would give them advice, and they would accept that advice and they'd be happy. They wouldn't say a negative thing, but I would beat myself up for that. And so now, look at me. I have a podcast out here trying to solve people's problems who haven't even come to me. I am a problem solver. That's not a bad thing. That's unique to me. I mean, obviously there's other problem solvers out in the world, but that's something about me that's not like every single person out there, you know? And I'm embracing that. I'm making a podcast. I'm trying to build a little business, you know, around that. So embrace that quirk. Another thing about myself is I get really excited. Like, if you've ever seen me excited, you know I get really excited. And there's been a lot of people in my life that's like, just calm down. This isn't a big deal. Okay? Like, wow, who pooped on your party? Jeez. But that's who I am. I get excited. I get loud. In a good way, though. Like, I'm just happy and I just overflow with it. That's what I do. And so that helps build other people up. Sometimes there's really down people out there and they need that little bit of excitement. You know, there's people out there who achieve things and they don't have anybody cheering them on. And so if they have that one person really cheering them on, really getting into it, that's going to boost their day. And so just because I'm not their cup of tea doesn't mean that I'm not a good cup of tea. Let me tell you, just because you don't like my spices doesn't mean I don't have good spices. Okay? So love your quirks. They are you. Another thing that I really like is to breathe through it. When life throws you curveballs, take a breather. Inhale peace. And exhale your worries. Let your breath be the superhero that brings you back to the now. When you're getting caught up in the moment, when it feels like your brain won't just stop. I remember there was this one time I asked my doctor, I was like, is it normal? Like, does your brain just not ever stop? Like, there's always constantly chatter in there. There's always things just running and going. Like, is that normal? And the look she gave me, oh my God. I knew right then and there that I had something that I needed to fix. I didn't know how to fix it, but she looked at me and she was like, no. I was like, oh, alrighty then. Like, what do I do now? And so I wasn't with that doctor much longer. I know there's going to be people out there listening to that, and that is a true and honest response. I know it's not the best one, so if you have a doctor giving you responses like that, get a new one. I did, and it made a big change. Anyway, and through that change, I discovered breath work. I want to teach you guys breath work in a later episode, but breath work is huge, and it really, really works. It's interesting when you're like, my brain won't shut up, but then you tell your brain to focus on your breath. Wow, it can do that. It struggles at time if you've ever tried meditation and breath work. As far as I know, I'm not a guru in that whatsoever, but as far as I know, they really go kind of hand in hand and they work very similar. So whenever you first start, your brain it's going to be aggravating trying to focus on your breath. But once you do accomplish that, it's really freeing. And even just the very few seconds of quietness that you do when you first learn and are first trying to focus on your breath, even then, that is enough to make a change. And until you try it, you're not going to believe it. You're not. So just try it, and the next time you feel frazzled and just like, oh my goodness, I need to calm down, just try focusing on your breath. And, I really think that it can make a difference for anyone that tries it. So something that you can do, really, you can just tell yourself, inhale the peace, and then take a 3 to 5 second inhale, exhale the worries, and take a 3 to 5 second exhale, and do that 5, 10, 30 times, until your brain quiets down just a little bit, and you'll feel it. It'll be good. Another thing is to write down your feelings. Grab a journal, spill your thoughts, and then sprinkle it with self-love. It's like sending a postcard to your heart. Write it down. So something that I talked about in the last podcast was challenging your negative thoughts. And so something that I've done that really helps is to write down that initial negative thought. No matter how silly it may sound, once you get to writing it down, write down that thought. And then look at it and reframe it. So you can say, no one likes me. Write that down. And as you write it down, you might, start thinking about people that do like you, but still write that down. And then you're going to reframe that. And you're going to write down your reframe there. And you're going to say, my child loves me. My mom loves me. My dad loves me. You can sit there and write down a whole list of people that love you. And if you truly, I know there are some people out there who truly don't have anyone. They had to completely restart their life, and they truly don't have anyone. So write down, I love me. And write down the things that you love about yourself. Do what you have to do to reframe that thought. And so you can do that whenever you write down your feelings. You don't always have to reframe it. Sometimes just writing it down can just really help. It's almost like when you go to a friend and you talk to them and you get just that validation just from talking to them. Just write it down. And you get that validation from just writing it down. And sometimes it can really make a situation that feels really big and intense, putting it down on that piece of paper, it can really just make it kind of smaller, and maybe it helps you take a step back and to be able to really see it and be able to really understand the whole picture. But I have really learned that writing things down, it can go a long way. And another thing is to craft your own mantra. What words make your heart skip a beat? Turn them into your mantra. Repeat during the tough times and watch the magic unfold. So mantras can be a lot of different things. A lot of things that I like to use are positive affirmations. And so if I'm going through a tough time, I can remind myself, I am strong, I am smart, and I am capable. I can handle anything that comes my way. I am strong, I am smart, I am capable. I can handle anything that comes my way. And I can repeat that over and over again to get me through that tough time. And it really works. And I know a lot of these things seem so simple. And I know I've said it before, it seems so simple that it's silly, but it works. And I mean, if you're wanting to ground yourself and wanting to center yourself, you have to get down to the simple things, because it's the complex things that are ruining your life. So it feels. It's the complex things that are making us just so overwhelmed. and so angry and so riddled with anxiety and depression and just not being happy. It's those complex things that are not good for us. So make it simple, make it digestible, and you'll realize how easily you could get through these things. You are strong, you are smart, and you are capable. You can handle anything that life throws your way. So now I want to discuss a question that I found while I was scrolling. And this person said, I was watching a video with David Goggins, and he often mentions being harsh and criticizing your shortcomings, not pulling punches, and using that to fuel yourself and getting better. However, I also see a lot of advice about self-care and self-compassion being a better way to be disciplined and achieve your goals. Which one is better? So to achieve your goals, what is better? Self-compassion or self-criticism? I personally think that you can get results from both, but self-criticism is hard. It brings you down. It will not lead to a positive mindset whatsoever. And there's just so many other things that add on to the self-criticism. Whereas the self-compassion and the self-care, it benefits you because it can benefit your positive mindset. And with positive mindset comes a lot of other positive ripple effects. So you can get results from both, but which one is better? Self-compassion, hands down. 10 out of 10 recommend. It will get you there, and it'll get you there whole. Whereas self-criticism is going to tear you down in other ways. Well, that's all I'm going to discuss today. I'm going to start making my podcast just one topic long because I can go for a long time on one topic. But anyway, I'm so happy that you guys have been here and you've listened, and I hope that all of this is helpful and that I'm teaching you things that can really improve your life. So there's usually a Q&A at the end. If you want to ask any questions, please feel free to do so. And reach out to me via email if you need to. Any way that I can answer your questions on here, I think would be super fun. I have possible people coming to be interviewed on here. If you think that you would be a fun person for me to interview or anything like that, or anything that you want to discuss, feel free to reach out to me and we can collaborate. If you're another, creator, we can collaborate and stuff. And I love helping people no matter who you are. So let's do that. And I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day.